We're here today in Nexmatix Test Lab to give you a concrete demonstration of how Nexmatix pneumatic directional control valves can help you save energy and money. The heart of Nexmatix technology is recycling compressed air. Instead of venting air each cycle, compressed air is recycled through our valve, capturing and using the energy that's still in the air lines. And that's a plug-and-play experience. You don't have to re-engineer or reprogram your system. You just unplug your old valve and replace it with the Nexmatix valve and start saving energy. Here are two valves. They're essentially identical, with similar CVs and flow characteristics. The only difference is that the one on the right has the Nexmatix technology in it. And here's the test. Up here, there's a 5-gallon air tank. It's going to supply a specified amount of air to each valve, and we're going to count how many work cycles that air gets out of each valve. We'll start with the left valve, the standard valve. This is a standard Allen Bradley screen that would be used to control a valve like this in a factory environment. It's been set up specifically for this test. The starting pressure for this test is set to 80 psi. The ending pressure is set to 70 psi. The valve cycle time is set to 1 second for one round trip of the air cylinder. And for this demonstration, we're going to repeat the test just one time. The middle part of the screen shows the actual pressure in the air tank. When we start the test, you'll see the pressure rise well above the desired start point of 80 psi to approximately 90 psi. The extra pressure will drive the working valve through several cycles before we start measuring, so we settle out any turbulence in the tank. So you'll see it overfill, start to cycle, and when the pressure falls to our 80 psi start point, the counter at the bottom of the screen will begin to count work cycles, and it will continue that count until pressure reaches 70 psi, which is our specified endpoint. So we begin the test. The tank's beginning to fill. It's going to overfill to about 90 psi. Now the tank is full, and the valve's beginning to cycle. And when pressure falls to 80 psi, it will begin the count. Now we're counting work cycles. The counter will continue that count until pressure falls to 70, which is our specified endpoint. And now that's complete. We've achieved 21 strokes in that test. And now we'll switch from the left valve to the Nexmatix valve. We turn these switches to redirect the tank air from the stock valve to the Nexmatix valve. On the screen, we select the right valve, the Nexmatix valve, but leave the other settings exactly the same as before. We begin the test. Just like before, the pressure rises and overshoots our desired start point to about 90 psi. The valve starts cycling, but we don't start counting work cycles until we hit 80 psi. Now the count starts, and it will continue to count until tank pressure drops to the specified 70 psi endpoint. And now the test is complete. We achieved 39 cycles, 39 units of work with the Nexmatix valve technology. That's compared to 21 units of work that we achieved with the standard valve. More than 80% more work performed with the same amount of compressed air, simply by changing to the Nexmatix technology. Savings out of thin air.